about. Lots gone down in the last year. I'm Sassy Cat, Lisa. I answer to either one. Hi, everybody. I want to start a little bit different than we typically do. This has been like a really weird year and a really tough month for a number of folks in our community. There's people who have had significant loss, a lot of grief going on, and I just want us to take a moment to just be quiet and sit with each other and hold space for fellow folks in our community who are hurting right now, if that's okay with you. I want to follow that up, though, with gratitude. Because what I've seen over the last few weeks from our community, I mean, not just the last few weeks, I've had the honor of being a regional contact with you guys for 5 years now. And this community always comes together. And you're always there for each other. And no matter how much we might argue about shit, when somebody's in need, we're right there. And so I wanted to follow that moment with just a moment of gratitude for our community and for all of you, and with thanks for all of you to be here today. And so the next thing I want to ask you to do is take a moment and just think about one thing you might be grateful for with our Arizona region Vernon community. And if you're moved to do it, you can write it down on a sticky, and I got a poster right there that I would love to take a photo of later. So at any moment in time during this meeting, and you guys on Zoom, send it in through the chat and we'll write a sticky for you too. If you find yourself grateful for something or someone in our community, write it down. And I would love to just be able to capture that. I'm saying right here, I'm grateful for all of you and just for the amazing humanity and care that I've seen over the last several weeks. Thanks. We've got a ton to talk about today. And so here's our agenda. I was saying before, we've been able to keep these to a couple hours or less over the last few years. I'm not sure we're going to meet that 2 hours or less today because I want to make sure that we are able to hold this space and have the conversation that many of us are here for to start the conversation about what to do with the land down in Wilcox. We will get to that later in the meeting, but I can't promise that we're going to be done in 2 hours today. Here's the agenda. Before we get started, I would really like to give Kirk Strong a moment. We happen to be in a special place for our burner community, a lot of history here, and now it's home to an incredible nonprofit. And we thank you for giving us the space today.
Thanks, everybody. I know a lot of people have already been here, and so if you have, welcome home. And if you haven't been here before, this is the home of the Walter Hive, but it's really where the Walter Project started. Walter Project is a 100-year project, and it starts today, so it's actually going to have a rolling 100 years, but we have focused a lot of effort on the not-for-profit since 2017 when we launched it. So this space has an art gallery, which is across the way. It's also where the bathrooms are, so if you need the restrooms, you go across and look for tiny versions of these giant doors, and you'll find those if you go to the right, and that's where the bathrooms are. If you want, you can continue on through. There's a show going on in the gallery right now. An amazing artist from Kuwait and her watercolors. So feel free to wander around the space. You're free to wander anywhere in this property that you like everybody is. And if you go out the back, you can see the tree that we planted here. This is an old family-owned lumber yard, and almost all the old lumber yards went out of business when Home Depot and Lowe's started to sell lumber. But this family rented their spaces to artists, and we happen to be one of the artist communities that will welcome into their land. And so we've been here since 2008. All the cars, if you know Walter cars, every single Walter car was made in this space. And now it's the home of the Walter Hive. And so when everyone walked in, Michael was here doing some laser cutting for leather for a project that's tomorrow, next week, tomorrow. And so we have a large format laser cutter. We have a large CNC plasma table in the back, welding shop, wood shop, programming LEDs, electronics, all manner of fine art, ceramics, leatherwork, all sorts of really incredible things. And the populations that we serve are heavily focused towards kids and for folks with chronic illness. But we span all the way from Hope Kids, which are kids who have cancer or some other life-threatening illness, all the way to Hospice of the Valley working with dementia patients. So we have a very broad scope. We just absorbed, merged, acquired, whatever, another not-for-profit called Kids in Focus. Kids in Focus is a mentorship-based program in photography, but very intensive. Kids walk out of this program really understanding photography. And that's been around for like 7 or 8 years. They are suffering from, or we're suffering, now they're not, from the same thing that every not-for-profit is struggling with right now, which is lack of funding. And just 24 to 25, our donations, individual, corporate grants, have dropped more than 50%. So just know that any not-for-profit that you love, they are all having a really challenging time. But the organization that we merged with is a qualifying state tax credit organization. We're working right now with the Department of Revenue to merge these two organizations into what I think it's the Walter Hive 2.0. And so we're also working with ASU to become an innovation hub and also to be accredited as an after-hour or after-school program where kids can come and learn skills. From my perspective, if I was in middle school or high school right now, I wouldn't know what careers are out there for me. The technology is moving so fast. So we're working with Scottsdale Leadership Council to get a grant, and the space that you'll see over there if you wander through, we're going to create a digital design and media lab. So all manner of computer-based skills that we can start to build a curriculum around. If you know how to use a computer and design, there's so much that you can do, and if you don't, you fall behind. All of these machines are run off of that design process. So you can send anything you can think of to a machine pretty much now, and you can use AI to support that process, and it's incredible what skill set we'll be able to help kids to get. We also, just learning how to weld is such a power trip for everyone. Unbreakable bonds in metal, there's not, we haven't really found anything that's quite like that. But woodshop, learning how to use these machines, that's the future of the Walter Hive. So it turns out that our merger with this new not-for-profit opens us up to an incredible funding source, which hopefully can replace the losses that we've been experiencing. So you, as an individual state tax payer, can direct where your tax dollars go. You can either let the state keep it, or you can give it to a Walter Hive. $987 as a couple, or $495 as an individual, and you get it right back. The state tax credit program, if you don't know about it, how many people do state tax credits now? This is higher percentages than across the board. Right now, if we can get 1,000 people to donate from their 2025 state taxes into the Walter Hive, only 1,000 people, we can fund the Walter Hive its entire operating budget. So, like, we throw parties downtown where 1,000 people show up. We're trying to get this message out to everyone to, first, if you don't know about the state tax credit program, there's many kinds of tax credits that you can do. This one is called QCO, Qualifying Charitable Organization. Kids in Focus is who we're merging with. Kids in Focus is the organization that you donate to, and it's painless. You get the money back from the state. So you're basically saying, my tax dollars, I want them to be focused right here in this organization. There's a number, so 20290. So we'll put this into the, I guess 292. There's a 5-digit code. We've never done tax credits before, but it's Kids in Focus. If you would plant that seed right now, you can do it anytime. That donation up until April 15th when you file taxes, and it's for 2025. And you can do this every single year. We have great hopes that the Walter Hive actually can become sustainable through this. And the work that this team does here is absolutely incredible. Charlotte, who was just here to open up the place, runs the gallery over there. Elvis, who some of you know, and lead of Camp Walter, is right now about halfway through his triathlon in Tempe, who also messed up a lot of you getting here today. But Elvis, without any training, is running an Ironman today and will finish very well. But anyway, I'm taking more time than I should, but that's why the meeting is going to go over 2 hours. Kids in Focus. Just remember Kids in Focus. KidsInFocus.org. There's a donate button. You can just make your donation there. You'll get the money back, and all you need is that 5-digit code. And any tax person that helps you, or yourself, there's a form that allows you to donate and direct your tax dollars to where you want them to go. So, now.
Thank you.
929. I feel like we're doing a raffle. 929.
Thank you so much, Kurt. Here, throughout our meeting today, many opportunities to participate, like radically participate. There's boards that you could join. There's teams that you could join. There's things that you could do. So find your niche and make a decision to do something more than you did last year, maybe. Or not. Maybe we get to relieve some of the folks who burned themselves out last year. Last year, we talked about, well, the last couple of years, we've talked about the legal entity structure of our region, which when the time came to convert from an LLC into nonprofit, we made several nonprofits. We made it probably as complicated as anybody could. And this year, so we've still got Arizona Artistic Conflagrators, which is the 501c3 that's kind of, the community 501c3. We've got Arizona Artistic, which is the 501c3 that has the land, that is there to sustain the land.
Did you know you're not sharing?
No, I didn't. Okay. Thank you. Hold on. Arizona, which you're going to hear from today, and the incredible things that that nonprofit does. Burning Man Project, you'll hear a bit about today as well. Up until earlier this year, we also had this LLC that was owned by Arizona Artistic Conflagrators. The idea, when it was all converted into all these legal entities, was that having the LLC to produce Saguaro Man and decompression would provide some degree of protection for the folks on the board and for community and whatever. What we learned is that more than protection, it added complication. Doing multiple sets of books, having multiple bank accounts, doing all of these things for an organization that generates less than $200,000 a year in revenue was just overkill. So after a lot of self-reflection and looking at what would it take to do this, the decision was made, and we completed the job of dissolving Arizona Regional Productions. Saguaro Man and Decompression are now programs within Arizona Artistic Conflagrators. We have good insurance. We now don't need so many bank accounts. We don't need so much complexity of moving money here and there, or all the crazy record keeping that we had to do. So in the name of simplification without adding risk, we made the move. And you'll hear about a couple other things that we've done along with that. Our theme, I think that you could say our theme for this past year as a corporate structure has been, we've got to make it simpler, we've got to make it easier for the volunteers and for our community to be able to do the things that our community loves. And Administrivia is not one of the things that any of us like to do, so as much of that as we can offload, the better. You'll see even to the degree that we're paying an accounting firm at this point in time. So. Where's your multimedia? I'm going to invite Courts, who is so now we're going to focus on Arizona Artistic and Flag Raiders, which is the main 501c3 over all of this stuff, community-wise. She's going to introduce the board. She's going to talk a little bit about what does the board do, and then make a pitch and hopefully get some of you to think about joining the board.
Go girl.
All right, so the current members of Arizona Artistic and Flag Raiders Board are listed. We have Danny Moore, Rat Lady, yes, she's on Zoom with us today. Lisa, Sassy Cat. Lisa has been our interim treasurer who came in and rescued our books this year and made sense of things. So we're very, very grateful for that. Misha Harkins, Vixen. Misha is representing Samara Man and Decomp on the board as, what's the right word for it? You're a board member, but kind of the liaison. That's it, the liaison between the events and the board. Ray Headings, Huckleberry, he's our chairman. He is not here today, but he's on Zoom too. Perfect. Renee Johnson is heading all things Big Night. And so she is also that liaison role between that event and everything that happens on the board. Robert Tate, Mr. Mom, he's recently joined us. He is going to be taking over as treasurer. So it's a transition period that we're in there for it. Scott Dudley Coda, he is one of our members at large. He, I don't know if I saw him on Zoom, but. And then there's me, Courts. I am the board secretary, so I handle a lot of notes. And our Melanie Haynes, Queen Bonnie, she is on a temporary hiatus, stepping back, but she is also here on Zoom today. And this year, Adele Snow, Ruby Smiles, and Amy Fiala, they both departed the board, but we are very grateful for everything that they have contributed. So that's who we are. A little bit more about now. Did I do it right? Did I mess it up? I messed it up. It's messed up over there. I'm just supposed to take notes, not. And now that you know us a little bit better, I want to take a few minutes to talk about what the board does, and more importantly, how you can get involved. The AZ Burners Board handles the administrative side of running our local events. We work on taking care of organizational details, budgets, and financial records, and ensure AZ Burners is meeting the legal and financial compliance requirements for being a 501c3. More importantly, the Arizona Burners Board is focused on making sure that we represent our local burner community through our events and uphold the 11 principles. We're stewards for the culture, working to make sure this amazing, ineffable thing that we build together continues to thrive. So why would anyone want to join the board? What are the benefits of being a board member? Well, first and foremost, it's a powerful way to give back to the community that has given so much to all of us. It's an act of service that has a direct, positive impact. You also get to take a direct hand in shaping the future of our Arizona community. You'll be part of the team that helps guide our events, our art, and our community. Personally, you'll gain an incredible behind-the-curtain look and understanding of what it takes to make the magic happen. It's sharpening your experience in a nonprofit management, leadership, financial oversight, collaborative decision-making, and getting to work with a really passionate team. It's not always glamorous, but it is rewarding.
He's in the process of meeting. Can you give him my comment? I don't have to do that.
To my main point, we're officially recruiting new members to join the Arizona Burners Board of Directors. We're looking for enthusiastic, organized, collaborative individuals who love this community, believe in our 11 principles, and are ready to help it flourish. Prior nonprofit board experience is not needed, but it is great to have, and any experience leading teams, great communication, and excellent attention to detail is also appreciated. We will be posting the, next one. We will be posting the official application and more details on our website in December. But in the meantime, please find me or any of the other board members here today. We'd love to talk to you, answer any questions, tell you more about the role. You can also email me directly at secretary@azburners.org or fill out the feedback form on the website. Thank you all for being here today and for everything you're doing for this community. We are delighted and grateful to have you participate in this impactful role and help lead Arizona Burners into the future. Thank you.
Thanks so much. It is rewarding to sit on the board and get to know these folks and try to help things just go ever more smoothly for our community. So now I'm going to share with you just a little bit about one of the things that we did in order to simplify, be in compliance, make things easier for our volunteers, and things like that. We made a decision this year to hire an accounting firm that is 100% totally focused and only works with nonprofits. It's costing us more than what we were paying a volunteer before, but who also owned an accounting firm, but we needed to, one, make sure that there was never going to be any kind of chance for, what's it called, conflict of interest. We needed to make sure that we've got something in place that can outlast any individual board member. And we needed, and honestly, especially when we're in our busy seasons, which are leading up to events, the number of transactions and the things that you have to look at and the things that you have to reconcile can become overwhelming for a volunteer. And we're a nonprofit corporation, so we need to make sure that we're doing that right. So after a lot of research, we landed on this company called Jitasa. Their website is there. Feel free to go look them up. They've been in business for a long time. They've got service people, so we have a team that's devoted to us. So there's never not somebody to talk to if we needed somebody to talk to. Their team is located around the world, but they do have expertise in what we need in U.S. nonprofit. They do our bookkeeping. They provide us with monthly financial reports. They do our Form 990. This past year, and you'll see why in a moment, we needed to do the long form of a Form 990 because of when we took in 2025 Saruman ticketing. We passed the threshold of $225,000 or whatever it is only because we had 2 events revenues come in a single year. But they handled that for us with ease. All of our accounting now is on QuickBooks. Not difficult for me as the treasurer to be able to look and run reports that I want to see on anything that we need. And also included with this is a way for us to do expense management. Before, what we needed to do were all kinds of spreadsheets. People would need to spend their own money and eventually get reimbursed. At the end of the year, it was literally a full-time job to try to reconcile where everything was. Now we're using an app which many corporations use, where if you are someone who needs to spend money on behalf of our nonprofit corporation, you'll get assigned that part of the budget. You'll get on this app. You'll get a temporary credit card to use that has those funds loaded on it, and it makes it so much easier for everybody that I can't even begin to say. We've started testing it earlier this year, and now I think those of you who have been on it, Misha I know has used it, Renee I know has used it, some of you, it's just been a godsend. So again, our aim has been, one, we need to have confidence, and you need to have confidence in how this corporation is keeping its books. We need to simplify as much as we can so that we can free up volunteers, burners, to do the things that we love to do. We need to have stability so that we're not relying on any single individual to get it all done. And we need to have conformance because we need to protect the nonprofit nature of the corporation. So that's why we went there, and we needed to share that with you. The next thing on our agenda to do, which will happen in 2026, you'll see why in a moment, and I alluded to that, is we're going to change our fiscal year. We're going to change right now our fiscal year is the calendar year. We're going to change our fiscal year starting in 2026 to go from July 1st to June 30th. This will help us, for example, because if you think, when is Saguaro? Saguaro is in the spring. We start collecting money at the end of the year before. We start spending money at the end of the year before. And so if we can align our fiscal year along with the way our major events happen, it makes everything that much easier. So that's going to happen in 2026. Now I'm going to start going through a bunch of numbers with you, and I know this is a small screen. So just our 990 is posted on the website every year, and these will be part of the record of this town hall. But I'm moving my face from here to here so that I can point at the screen. Our total revenues, and I wanted you to see how we're going from 2023 on forward through 2020, through this year. So in 2023, we generated about just under $127,000 in revenues. This was Saguaro and decompression combined. That was the year we canceled decompression that year, I believe. The main generator of revenue for everything our community does is the money that we take in for tickets for Saguaro. That's the number one thing. When we've had decompression, we may have taken in a little bit. Ignite was always planned for a zero, a net. The idea was if we don't lose money, that's great, but it was worth it to go out to the larger community. When Renee talks, you're going to find out we got pleasantly surprised this year in the way that we handled Ignite ticketing. So $127,000 in 2023 to $254,000 in 2024. Now the reason it was $254,000 in 2024 is because that was the first year we started selling tickets for Saguaro Man in the prior calendar year. It was the first year we started selling Saguaro Man tickets in November. And a lot of money always comes in the first batch of tickets because the event always sells out. So that's why you see that, and that's why you see 2025 to date, and it's not going to be, well, it will be more because we'll be selling Saguaro Man tickets starting in December, why we're only at 93,000 right now. Okay, so this will even out for this year, but it looks weird because of the way the year goes. Saguaro Man 2025 tickets started in November of 24. Saguaro Man 2026 tickets will be starting in December, so in the next couple of weeks. We earn interest, so one of the things is we started to get money in the bank. Instead of having it all in a checking account, we've got a bunch of it in money markets so that we earn some interest. And so you'll see now we start getting some interest income. Our total expenses, excuse me, I'm sorry I keep coughing, about $80,000 for 2023, and we're about on par with last year for this year. The expenses for Saguaro start in the last month or two of the year. So our net income for 2023 was $47,000. Net income for 2024, largely because of the way because we do cash-based accounting, not accrual-based accounting. So when the money comes and when the money goes is when it gets counted. We were at $140,000 for 2024 net income. This year so far, we're at a minus 20. But once Saguaro tickets start getting sold, you'll see it as a plus for 2024. And we estimate about $60,000 net income for 2024. At least that's the estimate. We'll find out in a couple of months. Cash on hand, so cash in the bank, including the checking account and the money market accounts, you can see how we've continued to get healthier. I don't know how many of you were around in the pre-COVID years, but in the years before we became a nonprofit, when it was LLC, the goal was always end the year with zero, because the people named in the LLC get taxed based on any income from an LLC. So it was one of the reasons to move it to a nonprofit. So our goal is to be able to have at least a year, if not a couple of years, worth of expenses in the bank. Our goal, which we're able to meet this year, was that you'll see when we talk about Saguaro I'll talk about it now. Before, last couple of years, the ticketing company that we use, we got the money from the tickets every single day. Like, we were hand to mouth. For several years, we were hand to mouth. We nearly went bankrupt several years ago, right around COVID time. And so this year, and along with that, so when you get the money right away, you have to pay strike fees. And we pay thousands of dollars in strike fees. This year, for Saguaro 2026, we don't need to take the money in every day. In fact, one of our goals has been to be able to pay for the expenses of the event without using the ticket money that's coming in from that particular event. Because honestly, when you're spending the ticket money that you take in before the event, you're spending money that's not yours yet. So we've reached that huge milestone this year where we're not going to need to get that money every single day. We're going to save thousands in strike fees. So you'll see the bank balance go down and then it'll go back up again. Make sense, everybody?
Strike fees.
I'm sorry, so Stripe is the company that handles the processing of credit cards. So you get the credit card fee, which is 1 or 2%, and you also get the fee from Stripe for handling the transactions. Thanks for the question. So I'm estimating that we'll be closer to $100,000 to $125,000 cash by the end of the year, but it will go back up once we get there. And our aim is to have a couple of years worth of expenses, including event expenses, in the bank, so that we don't ever have to be in that kind of position we were in back in 2020. We have a few fixed assets. We actually established an asset policy this year. If something is worth more than $2,500, it gets recorded as an asset. Otherwise, it's just maybe part of the inventory. So that's kind of our bottom line. There's more details on here. So that was the corporation as a whole, but many of you might be interested in how our events do. So I just listed 23, 24, and 25, Saguaro Decompression, Ignite, and our other source of income are donations, which we do have a few donors that regularly contribute each year, which we are incredibly thankful for. And so this chart just shows humans. So the number of, because we also have tickets for animals. Last year we had tickets for vehicles, so we didn't want to count those. It's about the people who are coming. We've gone from 1,000 humans in Saguaro in 2023. Whoever you are on Zoom, please mute yourself. To about 1,200 in 2024, 1,271 in 2025. As you'll hear from Misha when she talks about Sorrow-Man, we are limited in our new place to 1,200. So it'll be another 1,200 person event this year. The amount of money we took in from ticket sales each year, and this year what we expect for 2026 is less money on ticket sales because we're not selling vehicle passes this year. We did it for a very specific reason last year, and the community hated it, so we're not going to do that again this year. But we also didn't want to just increase the price to reach the same level of revenue we did last year. Can we handle this? Yeah, it just means that we're reaching our 2-year mark a little bit slower, but we want to make sure that we're keeping. We have the honor of being nearly the least expensive regional to go to in the world. And it'd be great to keep it that way, while being a healthy organization, while still being able to use those funds for all the other things we want to do. Decompression is a different story. Decompression in 2023, you'll see we had 191 people who bought tickets. Unfortunately, we had to cancel that year. Last year was 151, and this year we only had 88 tickets, which wasn't the reason that it was canceled. It was canceled due to weather, as we'll talk about in a little while. So decompression is a subject that we all need to talk about. And Ignite is a shining star. We had the last Ignite that we did before this year was 2023, where we had a little over 600 people. And then this year, Ignite Tempe, not even counting what we just did in Wilcox, was 759 people. And both of these brought in unexpected levels of revenue. Again, nowhere near Sorrow-Man, but that's not the purpose of that, right? That's not what we're after with that event. But getting 800 people for a day and evening was just wonderful in our eyes. So that's kind of how the revenues come in. And then the only other thing you might be interested in, the last of the eye charts for today, is what our major expenditures are. The biggest one, thankfully, is art grants, right? And that should be the biggest one, given who we are. So in 2023 and 24, we issued about 15,000 in art grants, mainly for Sorrow-Man, but also some for Ignite. In 2025, combination of Ignite and Sorrow-Man was a little over 21,000. We also started for Ignite, and we will begin for Sorrow-Man as well, issuing grants for art cars. Their art, so not to build the art car, but to get it there and to put the fuel there and those kind of things to help the art cars get to and be at the event. If they're so inclined, we thought it was something that we ought to do. So for 2026, we've got budgeted $27,500 for art grants. Combine most of it again to Sorrow-Man and more, both Sorrow-Man and Ignite receiving more in art grants than we have provided before. And the same with art cars, to be able to provide some assistance to the folks who are bringing those mutant vehicles to help with fuel and that kind of stuff. The next big chunks are associated with our programs also. And charitable contributions. 10,000 in 2023, nearly 15,000 in 2024, and we've got 15,000 budgeted for this year, and I'll talk about that in a moment. The next biggest chunk are supplies, equipment rentals, contractors, the kinds of things for our events. Insurance comes after that. Most of that insurance is for Sorrow-Man event. We have event insurance for Ignite. We have corporate insurance, so liability and insuring the officers, and we also have an insurance policy to cover in case a volunteer has an accident while they're doing something at one of our events. And the next big one you see are merchant fees, which I just talked about. More than 8,000 in merchant fees last year for Sorrow-Man alone. And it goes from there. You'll see that accounting and legal is one that jumped, but we also are in so much better shape We don't have as much in software that we're paying for example, but we are paying for having a good accounting firm with us. If you have any questions about any of the detailed stuff, you can ask me later or ask anytime. treasurer@azburners.org or lisa.schlenkoff@azburners.org. I think Sassy Cat gets there too. So we have earmarked $15,000 again this year to donate to nonprofits, to other nonprofits. The board has already determined $5,000 is earmarked for Arizona Burners Without Borders. This is something that our community supports us doing every single year. Burning Man Project, we're donating $1,000 to. We do get support from them. I think I've talked about that in years past. And we will ask them to earmark that for regional purposes. So they've got a whole regional events and regional network. And then Bureau of Erotic Discourse will also receive $1,000 from our community. Who are we going to donate the rest of it to? You guys are going to decide. Our community is going to decide. And like we've done the last few years, we've got a place for you to go to provide your input. We've got several different charitable organizations that we'd love for you to choose from. One is the Walter Hive. And Kirk did an incredible job of sharing information about that. City of Wilcox, their volunteer fire department, as well as fire department and dog shelter, I believe. The Wilcox Against Substance Abuse. The Drawing Studio is an organization similar to the Walter Hive that's located in Tucson. And so now we have active board members from Tucson. They're like, wait a minute, I'd love to see this on the list too. Wonderful. Northern Cochise Community Hospital. Anything happens to anybody at our events, that's where you go. So we thought it would be nice to have them on the list as well. And then, who have I forgotten? Oh, Cochise College Fine Arts, or Arts Program. So folks who are going to Cochise Community College have an opportunity to get an associate's degree in art. So I gave you ways to look these up, and we're giving you a way to share your voice. And when we hit the December board meeting, we'll have all the information in that, and we'll report back to you guys who the money's going to. There will be 5 of these charities that money will go to. The one with the most votes will get $3,000. The next 2 will get $1,500, and the next 2 will get $1,000. So we wanted to make them meaningful donations, and we wanted the community to have its voice. There is a space for other in the form as well. If you say an other, or if you want to just give us suggestions for next year, we'd love to hear from the community on that as well. For now, is what's been happening with Code of Conduct. We have a Code of Conduct committee, we have a Code of Conduct process, we've introduced that, it's all laid out on the internet, but we wanted to report back to you what's happened with that this past year as well. So since we met last time, since November of 2024, we've had 25 people send in reports on 17 cases, which means sometimes we'll get 2 or more reports sent in about the same exact thing that happened. Okay, that's why there's more reports than cases. 9 of the cases were archived or unsubstantiated. People send in reports sometimes and say, I just want you to hold this in the file. Okay, it's been too long, right? It's outside of the reporting time frame, but I still want you to know this. Please keep it on file. So we keep it on file, and that's what several of those were about. 6 of the cases resulted in some combination of what we used to call warning and teachable moment, right? It's for whatever reasons, it wasn't enough to say, hey, you can't come back to our events anymore, or for the next year or 2. But it was enough to say, hey, this is something that is a real learning opportunity. Please please pay heed, and it goes, and it stays, the file stays for some period of time. And then there were now 2 of these came with some special attachments. One of them was a learning opportunity, but also it was enough that the person is not going to be allowed to hold a leadership position in any AAC-related kind of things. AAC meaning Arizona Artistic and Flag Raiders. And one of them, the team who did the investigation wanted to give this person the ability to come back to events, didn't decide to suspend them from events, but there's a condition attached to them coming back. And the condition is they need to bring a sponsor from the community with them. And we've laid out some guidelines. We have put in place a procedure and a process, a policy and a process for that. Because we want to be radically inclusive, but we also need to keep our community safe. So there's parameters around that, and we'll see if they decide to go ahead with it. 2 of the cases resulted in suspensions of a year or longer. None of the cases resulted in permanent bans. And frankly, we're trying to get away from permanent bans as much as we can. We want to be able to, right? And so this was one of the things that, hey, can we test this sponsor thing and see if that can help? Because people can change their ways. People can learn. And so, not saying that there will never be a permanent ban again, but we wanted to find ways, can we be inclusive while still protecting the community? So we ended up with 2 cases where there was a suspension. One of them requires them to bring a sponsor once their suspension term is done. So that will be a requirement that they will need to follow should they decide they want to return to our events. The other thing that we did this year, and I had so many versions of this that I was working on. One of the other things that we did this year, in addition to the sponsor, was we also put in place the ability for people to appeal a decision. And so whenever someone gets a suspension, appeals don't happen with teachable moments or warnings. That's not something that gets appealed. But if you're suspended and you want to appeal that, there is a process still that people can actually follow. And that's, I think we may have put that on the website. And so we did get one of the 2 said they wanted to appeal, but they didn't follow through with the rest of the process in time. So maybe they'll decide to come back with a sponsor at some point. So these are right there is how long it took us. We have a goal. We'd love to be able to get these done, investigated, and concluded within 90 days. Sometimes it's just, we're dealing with volunteers and it's too hard to do that. Bunch done in 0 days, those are mainly the ones that were archived. We did get a couple done in less than 30 days, more done in less than 60 days, more done in less than 90 days, but we still had a couple that took very long. I will tell you that there were a couple of incidents coming out of Saloman that required dozens of interviews, a lot of discussion. One of the things that I wanted to conclude this with was a big thank you to the Code of Conduct team, which consists of Ruby, Coda, Huck, Little Bird, Momo, and me. But this team just worked their butts off post-Salona. And we also want to give a special thank you to Scotto and Crowley, because the situation that required so many interviews and so much work, we wanted to make sure that we weren't in a bubble. We really wanted to make sure that we were reaching the right conclusions in these, and we trusted their wisdom and their experience in the Burner community and in our community to help us with that. So once we reached our conclusions, we got on a call with them, and they helped us, and they helped us make the conclusions that much more solid. So shout out to everybody who's been involved in these. I have another slide. I will put it with when we put this on the site somewhere, or I'll put it in something that looked at what were the things that were reported. Most of it was about intimidating behavior. There were a couple that had to do with sexual misbehavior, and there were a few that had to do with theft. Those were the main ones. But I'll talk about events. And the way we're going to talk about events is we're going to ask Renee to come up first. We're going to kind of do them in chronological order. The first official event that happens during the year is Ignite, or it was last year. So I'm going to ask Renee to come up, talk about Ignite. Then Misha's going to talk about Salaman and decompression. Then we'll have a conversation about what to do with decompression. And if you all want to just, stand up and raise your hands and exercise a little bit so that, because we got a long thing going.
Yeah, but I have to hold the trigger though. Yeah, I know. I do. Yeah,
Hi, everybody.
with my hands first.
Okay, slide. All right. So we'll do a little bit of volume.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah,
We'll do a little bit of
way too
recap.
much of a mess.
There were several firsts this year, so that's exciting. We started with kind of the standard format of Ignite, but moved to a new location. So historically, it's taken place in downtown Phoenix at the Allen House. We decided to shake it up a little bit, involve new communities, reach the other burners that are in other places that aren't downtown Phoenix. So this is our first time in Tempe, and working with the Tempe municipality, kind of collaborating with some of the Tempe Underground Arts team, which was, I think, great. Many thanks to Matt for connecting us with even more. Decided to try a different avenue for ticket sales. So instead of choosing a price, putting them up there, hoping for the best, we decided to do a pay what you want. And leave it to the community to decide what kind of value they think applies to their interest in the event, or actually, that's not very fair. Some people might hold the event at very high value, but not be able to afford that. So this allows us to have a whole range of everybody who might want to attend for whatever reason. And we were prepared to, hi, people over there too. We were prepared sorry. Thank you. Yes, we received a budget from New York, $5,000. We were prepared to not bring any of that back. We not only broke even, we broke that record with, $5,889.
It was more than 6,000. Cash that we brought in that we gave to the books that we
Yeah, so the figure you see here is actually the figure that just came in from reported ticket sales through Humantix. And then there were other people who were so excited about the event and the experience they were having, and they wanted to contribute. The cash was also donated at the door. So yeah, it was over 6,000, which is great. It's the first time that event has paid for itself, and that also allowed us to, for the first time, do Ignite twice in the year. So we did a smaller version in Wilcox as sort of a meet and greet with local community in Wilcox, which is where we're having our Sawarman event. Sorry. We're going to move on to the next one. Sorry. Here's some photos. That's way more exciting, right, than like a bullet point list. I could use a lot of help with this event, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about that a little bit too. Particularly if somebody who loves public speaking and wants to help with that part. Definitely use some help in that area. We need a production team. Historically, it's kind of been a person and then some really wonderful people that come in and help out. There are some
faces in this room without whom the event would not have, neither of those events would have happened this year. But I would love to have a group of people that kind of work together throughout the year to build this event, make it better, more robust, more a broader scope, I guess. There are many other things we can showcase from within our community in this one-day interactive pop-up gallery art exhibit thing that we're doing. Oh yeah, so when and where is? Oh, right.
TBD. It's going to happen in 2026. Part of the conversation we're going to have after the discussion on Snowman and the depression, we're going to circle back to.
I think it's showcase that does bring out.
Outside voice.
Sorry.
Lisa needs an outside.
I can do that. That's a great question. That kind of skips ahead to a conversation discussion we're going to get into. Historically, Ignite has happened in the spring, right before Tomorrowland, the sort of an incubator for Tomorrowland. We're actually looking at maybe moving it to the fall in the hopes that it can be better supported. We have fewer competition between Tomorrowland, some of the other AZ Burner adjacent events that happen. Like a lot happens between February and May. So yeah, we might be moving it to the fall to answer that question. Are there any other questions? Is there anything I skipped that anybody's curious about? Oh, yes.
How do you volunteer for? Their website?
That's a wonderful question. Yes, so I have a general link on the azburners.org website. There's a beautiful kind of rainbow pink box with a button in there that says click here to sign up, and that will put you to just an introduction form. That'll come to me, and then when we are ready to start planning meetings and things like that, then I'll be able to reach out to everybody that's filled that out. There's, I think, a spot on there to give an idea of like what kind of volunteering you want to do as well. Because I imagine there are things that people have to offer that I don't know to preempt, and I would love to learn what all of the different things are that folks want to bring. I will also be posting there. I think we're going to start doing more meetings throughout the year too to get people face to face. So I'd love to see it there as well. That will also be on the same website. So it's our azburners.org website, and then there's a tab specifically for Ignite, so you can learn all about everything. Yeah, thanks for asking. Anybody else have a question? Nisha. Should I say Vixen?
Yeah, it's whatever. Misha Harkins, Vixen, however you guys want to refer to me. At Burn, I usually go by Vixen. I am your fine print lead with Solarman and Decomp, as well as the facilitator. I'll explain facilitators, but as well as the facilitator for that sits on the board with the AAC board. So I represent our events with our board and kind of keep everybody on the same page. So, Solarman 2025. How many of you guys were there? Nice. Awesome. And for those of you that weren't, how many plan on attending Solarman this year? Well, actually from everybody, I suppose. Who plans on attending this year? Awesome. Oh, hi, Corinne. I didn't see you come in. All right. Well, that's fantastic. I hope I see you all there. It's an event, Decomp and Solarman are both events that I'm really passionate about. So happy to see all of you and all of you wherever you are online. So we're going to go over an introduction and overview, what went well, and some additional information. So right here, and I'm just going to stand up by the screen. Sorry, online guys, you can't see me. So in the center of this circle, I don't know how many of you have seen this already, but this is essentially a breakdown of all of our departments, and they are broken down even further into larger groups: communication, venue, fine print, emergency services, art, and radical participation. So I sit on the fine print crew and help with a lot of this stuff. And then we have 5 other facilitators that also help lead the departments and kind of sit in a leadership role above these department leads. It's not a hierarchical thing, it's more like a, hey, I have more space and more capacity to take this on, so let me, step up and help a little bit extra. So I'm not going to go over this in detail. This is a breakdown of every, we call them pie pieces of that little circle chart. So for every pie piece or every, overall department, all of the leads are listed there. You can see we've got art. Conchita is our facilitator for art. Emergency services, Bruno is there for our emergency services facilitator. I'm fine print. Venue is Sunny this year. Radical participation is 3. And for communication, we actually don't have a facilitator right now to help us work through SolarMan for this year, so we'll be talking about that later, but if anybody's interested, let me know. All right, so the overview for 2025, the event sold out. We sold 1,221 tickets, 75 animal tickets, 881 vehicle passes, which I know Ruby loved. So, we had 52 theme camps, which is great, 15 mutant vehicles, 39 art pieces, and we did not burn this past year, unfortunately. I think we made the best of it. I had a great time. I don't know about you guys, but the heart and soul of it was still there. Rangers were on point, 38 Rangers, and they did great work. We had no noteworthy medical incidences, 2 law enforcement interactions, which were very helpful and peaceful, and 0 sound complaints. So what went well? Meet and greeters. So from a lot of this information is taken off of the Afterburn report. So you guys really want to get into detail on what each of these departments actually had to report. We provide the Afterburn report on our website for every year. I don't know if this year's has been updated just yet. We're still finishing up the last little bits, but we're going to work to push that out here pretty soon in the next week or 2. And like I said, refer to that to get in-depth details about each department and their experience at SolarMan. So needs improvement. I'm not going to go down the whole list, but we've got communication. I know that there has been a request from many to increase communication between theme camps, volunteers, and artists. We're really working on that. That's part of the reason why we have kind of rearranged our leadership structure and are trying to pull in leads right now to help with that communication, because we've got leaders that, actually we're looking for leaders for boots on the ground too. We need leaders that can both work outside of the SolarMan event and boots on the ground at the event. So the rest of the year, we're doing a lot of planning and a lot of communication and coordinating leading up to the event. That's really where we need help with that. Emergency services, they're working on better procedures and plans. You guys, I'm sure have heard, we will be on new land this year. So everything's kind of going to need a little tweak. Leadership, we need more leads to share their responsibilities. This is leads of departments we have DPW, but just as an example, DPW, census, comms, communication or email, those are all examples of smaller departments that could potentially use help. You would have to reach out and we can figure out what your skills are and coordinate with you on that to find, a spot that would be good for you. Signage, better signage, we're working on that. Training, more training needed in various departments. Again, with this new leadership structure, we're working on putting these things into place. And then volunteers, we need more volunteers. Always need volunteers. Oh, I don't think 3 is here. do you want to present online via Zoom?
Sure. Yeah. So last year we had 200.
Oh, hang on, 3.
Here, we can just.
Oh, yeah. What if you have?
Yeah, hang on 2 seconds, 3.
Okay, speak up.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
You got you.
Yep, we're good.
Great. Yeah, so last year was my first year at Squirrelman, and this is going to be my second year volunteering, or leading volunteering as volunteer. So excited to get it a little bit more better for everybody, leads and also people who are interested in digging a little bit deeper into radically participating. Last year we had 259 people sign up, and that's always a little bit aspirational. We're going to use the same form and online system this year. And then as far as checking in and making sure you've completed and showed up for your shift, we had 199 people self-report that. Last year we had a QR code system that wasn't really working that great for everybody, and so while it was a good kind of trial year, next year no cell phones will be needed to check in. We're going to do something a lot easier, more streamlined. Just come check in before your shift at one place every time. More info on that will be later. Also later in this meeting, someone's going to talk about the new for 2026 DPW setup teardown crew discount ticket, which we're excited about, because that's kind of like the most urgent need that we have this year. But there's tons of volunteer stuff that we have opportunities for people to fill. So if you're interested, go to our website, azburners.org/volunteering. Or if that's too hard for you because we haven't redesigned it, just email me at volunteers@azburners.org. and we can connect you to whatever fits what you want to be up to, because we have so many different things to do. So just want to chime in, let you know if you're a lead, if you see an email from me, we're going to hopefully take a little bit of time this year to get everything squared away so everybody on the ground can just have a great time participating, helping out, and it's way less stressful and way more fun. So hope more people come out in this capacity. Yeah, that's all I have. Thanks, Bree.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, 3. 3 just recently stepped up as our our radical participation facilitator, and has taken on the task of tallying up all of your volunteer hours. Spreadsheet with a bunch of numbers, and 3 is working through it, and I'm so thankful that she did her group. All right, so that was the recap for SOARMIN 2025. Let's talk SOARMIN 2026. Ruby, or whoever has a cursor that can point at the map, is it on there? Yeah, just as I'm explaining things, can you kind of point to it if it's possible? So this is our new venue that we will be having SOARMIN at. It is in Wilcox. A lot of you on your way to our Landy McLand phase land, our SOARMIN land in the past, have stopped at the stoplight in Wilcox, made a right, gone over the railroad tracks, and continued on to our land. So this land is actually about a mile and a half away from that light that you turn on in Wilcox. So it cuts like a half an hour off the drive, first of all, which is amazing. All right, so let's get down to it. So up at the north section, we have Gate, which is outside of the perimeter of this land, along with D-Lot that kind of stems off from that Gate area. Both of those are on the outside of the land, or the outside of the perimeter. Right at the end of Gate and between Gate and Greeters, there's a cattle guard and a fence. So we have an actual gate for the property. Coming down around the lake, off to the left or the west, this area will be quiet camping. Obviously you can read the notes there, but roads are to be cut. We're working on the plans for that. Quiet camping and quiet camping theme camps will be in that area. And then we'll move over to the open playa area. This is actually like a dry lake bed. It is a very cool playa. If you haven't been there, you're gonna love it. But we have a new placement volunteer, Michael Smith, who's been helping us with creating this design So I'm going to go into detail on that here in a second. Not into detail, but I'll explain more. Above this theme camp area with the burn circle, we have RV quiet camping. So that area right there will be for anybody that has an RV that is not camping with a theme camp and would be willing to park up in the RV camping area to conserve space down on Playa. Sweet. Oh yes, so can you move back real quick? So this area around the lake, we are going to kind of preserve this area as like a natural reservoir for the birding, the birds that live there. So no swimming in this lake, unfortunately. It is a pond, it's full of bird poop, so you don't want to. But it's very beautiful, very cool, no swimming. So I just wanted to zoom in on this Playa part. As you can see, we kind of have a really cool like Burning Man layout. I'm very excited about it. It's flexible. It looks like everyone has to fit into a cookie cutter. This is just the base mode for it. We're gonna take in theme camp information and accommodate as we can. But yes, Center Camp will actually be moved on to Esplanade. We've got the big burn circle with a bunch of art around it and then art around the edges. So open camping will be in quiet camping as well as the outermost circle we're anticipating will be also open camping on Playa. So more to come on that. Of course, did you have a question? Oh yeah. So just so you guys know, our Michael was able to put the Landy McLand face map with the Hart Roads and the theme camps. He was able to overlay that over this, and the majority of our past map fit on this Playa, surprisingly enough. I didn't think it would, but it's a lot of space, so I'm really excited to see what we can do with it. Yay! Yeah, I'm stoked. I've been out there, I've camped out there for a recent leadership tour and sort of mood cleanup that we did, so it's lovely. Yeah. So the question was, where is the various infrastructure going to be? So yeah, so we haven't figured out everything yet. We have an understanding of where Center Camp will be, but the specifics on placement hasn't quite come together yet because we're waiting for ticket sales, theme camps to open up, and also feedback from leadership. Yeah, so just for the record, like this bottom corner right over here, so that's probably going to be a headquarters area. We've got open camping, theme camping in the big circle. And we're really just going to have to play it by ear while we're planning. And then once we get to the land, we'll have everything ready and be able to tell you where it goes.
There was another question.
Oh yeah, another question. Yeah.
So when we drove out for the leadership camp out, we noticed the Border Patrol headquarters.
Yeah.
Appears to be like everybody would be the whole event.
Passing.
Right?
Yeah.
It seems like it's within earshot of the event. You say? I don't know if there's been like any discussion.
So the question was about, so on this road leading to the land, there is a Border Patrol site. They house like cars there, like their Border Patrol vehicles, and it's always been very quiet as I've driven by. I've actually never seen any people out there.
So it's not
But we've talked to the city about it. The city is not concerned. Our place where we're holding the event down south on this land is actually quite a distance away from the Border Patrol location. We've been told by the city that, be reasonable, but they're not concerned about the sound, especially related to the Border Patrol. They don't care. So yeah, I think we should be okay with that.
There's also quite a rise. Those two little roads that go from the lake down.
Wait, use the microphone.
Sure.
So there's actually quite a rise too. As you go from the lake down into the Playa area, you actually have to go up about 10 or 15 feet, and then you come down again, down into the Playa. So that's sort of a natural sound break between the Playa and them. So it doesn't seem like it's
Yeah.
in streets
Yeah.
on land.
Oh,
Main point.
the other, Cord's brought up a good point. Also, the way that we will be facing sound will be down south towards the private land that nobody lives on. We don't have any immediate neighborhoods next to us, so sound is not really that big of a concern for this event. Somebody in the back. Yeah.
I've heard some rumors that there's some areas of this land that has some deep sand. I'm just curious as how to hold down tents in deep sand.
So the question was, they were curious about areas in this land they've heard that has deep sand. So when we were out there, when was that, the end of September? It had just rained, so it wasn't the best for testing the land and with like lag bolts and stuff like that. But as far as the sand goes, it's pretty packed down. I'm not too concerned about it. I know as far as the roads, like we're working on making sure that the roads are safe and packed down, but the land itself I think is pretty safe. We're all gonna have to kind of keep an eye out, just like you would on any other land, like make sure you're not in a big pothole that's gonna keep you from moving out or whatever. But from what I've seen, I think it's gonna be okay.
Sure.
Just for the record, there are no like dunes or anything out there, it's just, yes, Matt?
I feel like that question referred more to the quiet camping than the playa itself. That seems pretty soft. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, for the quiet camping?
Yeah.
I mean, so I've been out there twice, and other people have been out there more times than I have, like Maureen with DPW, she's been out there so many times. We've evaluated the land over in quiet camping and we're pretty confident that it's gonna be okay. I will give a warning, just like I would on our old land face, like check the ground before you park, make sure you're not in a hole, make sure you're not in a puddle or whatever. But I think that the quiet camping is going to be just fine.
Well, if it rains, the whole thing's a puddle.
This is true. If it does rain in April, like if we were holding it in monsoon and we were having hurricanes come through, yes, the playa does fill up with water, and it fills up all the way sometimes. Not like deep, but ankle depth all the way through the playa. I have checked the weather, we've talked to the city of Wilcox, and they're pretty confident that we won't have any outrageous rain in the month of April. The rain expectation is like very low for April. Yeah, cross your fingers. All right, did anybody else have any more questions? Yeah, what can I help you? So the city of Wilcox, if you see on this map, please can you back up to the big map? Thanks. So all this grayed out area is actually private land. It's sold off in like neighborhood squares. So when you look at the map in the city system, it looks like a bunch of people live around us. But it's actually all in a floodplain, so nobody can actually build anything. There's nobody living around us. The whole area is empty. So all of this area is private, and the area that is highlighted is the city of Wilcox. So we are working directly with the city of Wilcox to hold our event on this land.
Has that been decided though?
To hold the event on land? Yes. Yep, we are working on a letter of intent that we should have next week that will solidify our event on this property. Oh, yeah. Hi.
Hi. On the old land, littered among the theme camps were a lot of solo campers putting the total they can. Is that still going to be the case, or are solo campers going to be relegated to a different section?
So probably for this, solo campers are going to be relegated to a different section. Again, it'll probably be the quiet camping area or the outer ring of this playa half circle that we're talking about. The reason for that is because we're taking up such a different type of space, we have to kind of pack in. So camps will be responsible for providing maps and an estimate and some sort of idea of placement to make sure that we can fit them into the area that we have for them. So yeah, anything else? Hi guys, welcome. Come on in, grab a seat, and there's food in the back. All right. Oh, can you go back one row? I'm sorry, Lisa. Oh no, just kidding. Go forward. I thought it was a different slide. All right, so call for volunteers. I know that we already talked about this. I'm going to talk about it as often as I can with anybody that I can. So as we prepare for 2026, we're looking for regular volunteers to come in and fill these slots during the day. Game readers, sound, all of these different departments have needs during the event that we definitely appreciate volunteers showing up for. So that's one aspect, but we're also looking for leadership leads. We're looking for leadership volunteers. The way that our departments work right now is we have an elder, a lead, and a lead in training. And we'd like to have that for all of our departments to ensure that there's no one single point of failure and make sure that things are getting done as they need to. So if you or anybody you know wants to step up for a leadership role, please reach out to smf@azburners.org or volunteers@azburners.org. smf@azburners.org is the SOARMAN facilitator group, so that would come directly to us, but emailing volunteers@azburners.org is just as good. Okay, so this I'm actually really excited to talk about. DPW set up Teardown Crew Ticket Program. So we have this new program coming up. It'll start SOARMAN 2026. And the idea is to incentivize the DPW setup and teardown shifts for our SOARMAN events. Last year, I don't know if you guys remember, those of you that were there, especially with teardown, we had winds that whipped through and everybody took off as fast as they could and it left about 6 people on the land to do all of the teardown. I never want that to happen again. I was getting phone calls from people that were stressed and upset. I never want my volunteers to go through that. So I'm calling out to the community to come in and, pick up these setup before the event and tear down after the event shifts. For this year, we are going to have to transport all of our gear from Landy McLandface over to the new venue. We'll set up, have the event, and then we have to pack it all back up and take it back to Landy McLandface. So this is a huge undertaking right now for DPW. They desperately need volunteers for these shifts. We need people that are able to be mobile. You don't necessarily have to be able to lift heavy things, but like running around like, hey, so-and-so needs a hammer. Things like that. Like, we have all levels of participation in DPW, so don't be afraid to jump out and volunteer. Set up and tear down, cardboard frames and coverings, good Tetris players we need for packing the box trucks that we're going to be used to transport. And then, like I said, people willing to be floaters to help what they're needed. So if you are interested in volunteering for DPW, we will be posting this policy and more information on it on azburners.org, and we'll also be sending it out on the socials and emails as well. So I see a question in the back.
Who's leading?
So Chainsaw, Noreen Moffitt, is leading DPW along with Sunny. So they're kind of co-leading it together, and they're doing a great job. But yes, that is your DPW lead, is Noreen Chainsaw. So conclusion. Oh wait, Ruby has a question.
Actually, Noreen's on the chat, and she said she's parked the RV in that flat camping area. The area we were concerned was a little soft. She said no problems getting it in and out, and so she's comfortable with where the land is outside of the flat.
Did you guys hear that all okay? Cool.
All right, so back to the conclusion. I mean, you guys know that we're having our event on Wilcox City land. So a huge part of what we're moving into is strengthening our relationship with the Wilcox community and exploring new opportunities for collaboration. I think our first real big step with that was we invited some of them to SOARMAN. They came and enjoyed it, but then we took Ignite to Wilcox. And I think that was a really big, important step to work with the community. We want to build on our success, improving our communication training and event logistics, bring back Art Burns, which we're super excited to do this year. We have, like I said, we're getting the letter of intent. They will approve in that Art Burns. So we're on our way to having a fiery burn. We want to grow our leadership team. We just talked about that. I'm not going to go into detail again because you guys will kill me. But yes, please volunteer. Yeah, that's good for that slide. All right, so we're moving on to decompression. Yes, you have to hear me talk about the event.
Yay, we have land for SOARMAN for 2026. This
Yes.
team is working established a relationship with the city of Wilcox. It's mean, who would have thought, if you backtrack earlier in the year when we thought the world was falling apart, that this lemonade would come out of the lemons. And I'm just incredibly grateful to the team for all the work. And it's going to be amazing.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, I'm super excited, guys. The lake is awesome. You're going to be so stoked when you drive over that hill and down into the theme camps, and you're like, this is like a little mini Burning Man. This is amazing. So moving on to decompression. So the permitting was completed and the event was a go. However, we had a hurricane blow through and we had really unpredictable weather conditions, so decomp was canceled for this year. It was a hard decision, but we got a lot of positive and supportive feedback from the community, so I personally want to thank you guys for that. We worked together and it was a hard decision, but thank you so much for taking it well and being supportive and just being the amazing birds you are. Oh yeah, long story short, I think we got charged maybe like $200 for our cancellations. Something like that. Yeah, so we didn't have a,
And we refunded the tickets immediately.
Oh yeah, and we refunded the tickets for that cancellation immediately. I think we did really well pushing through that cancellation.
And that was actually an example of one of the benefits of being able to have the money to pay for the expenses before we get, without cashing out the ticketing, because we left the money in Humanitix. All we needed to do was hit a button. And it was really smooth.
So yeah, that was a good experience, believe it or not. It was a learning experience, and I was really happy with how you guys handled it. So, all right. So the future of decompression, participation in the annual decompression event is dropping. It's been kind of historically low. Let's see, 191 to 151 to 88 tickets for humans in 2023, 2024, and 2025. So this event, we drive out to Wilcox, we order portos, we have teams, we have rangers, we have, I mean, it's essentially a burn, right? Minus the burn part. And it's a lot. And we're only really interacting with like 100 people at these decompression events. So it's just become a lot. We haven't had a lot of volunteers working in leadership for decomp, so putting on the event has become very difficult. We are, where am I at? But yeah, so that's essentially what this slide is. So it's been hard to put on decomp, and we're trying to find other options that would satisfy the community for this event. So we have a few ideas to share. I don't know where Renee went, but oh, there you are. You actually don't have to speak if you don't want to jump back up here again. So the first idea that we had was to convert decompression into a one-day event, have it at the same time of the year, but look at some of the other regional organizations that do day events for decompression, and maybe bring it to Tucson or Phoenix to make it a little bit more accessible. I know a lot of people have trouble getting out to Wilcox for just a weekend, so we're hoping to touch more lives with this event and bring the community in that you guys would enjoy. So that's one idea, just to make decompression a big event in the fall. I brought Renee up because she and I were kind of noodling on this the other night, and the other idea that we had was to kind of combine decomp and ignite, essentially lean into ignite, but make it a bigger event to kind of take the place of the decompression camping, bring the community in, bring our burners in, and make something that, we can, be excited about, touch the lives of people, and make it a big deal. So I brought Renee up. She's got brains, she's got ideas, so I'm gonna let her share them.
So, I realized I skipped ahead last time, so I'll give you this background. Ignite is a one-day kind of easy burner version of a street fair, right? Where we highlight all of the different creative, collaborative, artistic, coming together and doing stuff as a group, making spaces for people who don't want to do things as a group but still want to be around other people. Basically all of the other components that we love about Easy Burners, besides the party aspect of it, right? It's really easy to do a big burner party and that kind of takes over. So the underlying notion behind Ignite is to highlight and celebrate all of these other components and to make room for any other interpretation of bringing whatever it is that you do, that you specialize in within the community that you want to share. And that has kind of turned into this festive street fair, day-long celebratory event, which looks very similar to the decompressions that some other communities have around the country. San Francisco Decompression, for example, is a good example of that, where they bring out art activities, mutant vehicles, little mini booth versions of some of the theme camps. People do talks about interesting topics, information you want to share, Skillshare workshops, crafts, absolutely, although the whole gamut. And so there is this opportunity, if we would like, to come together as a community and merge efforts that go into decompression and efforts that go into Ignite to do a larger, more robust a fall event that's open to the public, that is a broad introduction to, again, just everything about our community that we love and celebrate and want to share. All right.
So the idea that we had was to obviously combine those two, put all of our energy and our efforts into this in-town thing and make it something really special that more of our community can participate in. I believe, let's see, what else do I have on here? So yeah, if we have both decompression and Ignite, regardless of whether we combine them or have them separately, we need more volunteers in the fall, guys. I know it's really hard after Burning Man, it's hard after Swarmin and Burning Man if you're doing both of those or any other regionals, but like, we gotta have people to help lead. So I'm just putting a call out again for volunteers. Wow, surprise. The last thing I wanted to say, oh yeah, Bernal, I'm sorry, I looked right at you and then just ignored you.
The two events, decompression is more of a get together with help stories, kind of senior friends again. Where Ignite, we're not, they seem to have conflicting directions. How would you resolve that?
Hey, repeat the question.
So Bernal had an excellent question, and that is highlighting the difference purposes between these two events. So Ignite is all the things I just described. It's kind of interactive, open to the public, street fair, carnival, whatever it is. Decompression has always been kind of a more intimate time for friends to get together and hang out in nature as a closed event and not completely open to the community event. And yes, there is absolutely still a need for that. I think there is a way to still hold a fall camp out more in the way that holidays have happened, so that it's more community-led, and then there is support from the Arizona Artistic Collaborators with navigating permitting, help putting call-outs, spreading the word for volunteers, that sort of thing. But the overall event itself would actually be spearheaded by whomever is excited to make that happen in the community. So no ticket sales,
It wouldn't be an Easy Burners. What we're thinking is the camp out doesn't need to be an official Easy Burners event that has to be done in compliance with all the things we need to be compliant with between Burning Man Project, other staying legal as a 501c3 and those kind of things. It just hasn't drawn enough to warrant the incredible effort that the volunteers have to go through. if it ever bubbles up again, then hey, it's going to be a 300, 500 person event, then of course, then the community would demand it. But it looks like less and less of the community is demanding it. I was thinking about your question when you asked it, and about what you started out by describing Unite, and my bet is that there are ways that if it were combined, to have space and timing for AZ burners to get together and visit with each other and talk with each other, and the kind of thing that we hear about what decompression has provided for the folks that love it. Right? And there are a couple hundred people in our community that love it, that's for sure. So we don't want to throw it all away, but there's scarce resources available. And we have to, as an organization, figure out how to best utilize it. Make sense?
Also important to highlight is we're presenting ideas. So we're seeing what the trend with decompression has been, and we're seeing what the trend with getting those resources into, spreading those resources amongst all of these different events that the official, the nonprofit is putting together, what impact that is having on each of the subsequent events. Then we're looking at what the intent of decompression is, or what the intent of Ignite is, and how do we make the efforts that are going into it match what we want to get out of it. So if it's a community event, absolutely, let's make it a community event. Spearheaded and run and upheld by the group of people that want to put it on. Again, just as an idea, and I don't think any of this has been set in stone. We wanted to present this for discussion and get some feedback, see how that feels for everybody.
So, from what I understand, Chords has put together a Google form on our Chords. Is it on the town hall page? Okay, so there is a feedback form that will be on the AZ Burners Town Hall page. This will have options to provide feedback for some of the stuff that we went over, and Chords right now is sitting right in front of me, editing it, to include some of this decomp.
Send an email to announce when that form is ready.
Yeah, so it is, it's ready right now. If you want to jump on there and give feedback, there will be options to give feedback about decomp and a few other things. So don't feel like your voice can't be heard. Yeah, so just going back real quick, if there is anybody out there that is interested in putting on some sort of a camp out, if you're passionate about making it happen and you're just not sure how, reach out to the board. We'll do our best to support our community in the best way we can. So, board@azburners.org. Yeah, another question. Hi, Zadi.
Hi. It's actually more of a shout out because Ian did offer up his place in that weekend. It was about, 30.
Oh, nice.
30.
I never heard back on how it was.
It was fun.
So, Sandy just wanted to give a call out for Ian. How do you say his last name? Liljeblad. Ian Liljeblad. After the decompression event this year was canceled, he very kindly and very generously opened up his home to some of the campers that were ready to get out there and dance around in the rain. So I'm really glad that worked out, and thank you to Ian for that, because I know a lot of people really enjoyed the time there. Any other questions? Nope. All right, moving on. Make sure you guys check that feedback form. It's super easy, fill it out. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
All right, so the time check is 24. We have a ways to go. And the thing I want to get to right now is next other community events. And then we will get to Burners Without Borders. And then we'll do a check with each other to see how much more we can take. So, upcoming events, you see on the right a variety of things, but we also have our traditional holidays, which this year is not an official event, but it's still near and dear to our whole community, and we've got a couple of folks who have taken on hosting and producing this event, and I want to invite Karen and Tissy. Come on. They dress the part.
Hello, I'm Spotted Elephant.
I'm Dolly.
And together, we're hosting holidays. It's been really great. We're hoping to make it even more amazing this year. The theme this year is the Island of Misfit Toys, and it's going to be fantastic. We've got Penny Lane as our party lead. Thank you. Ben is going to be there. We're expecting some performances from some people in Stampede. The Rangers are going to be there. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to love it.
Yes, but we still need help with gate, decorations, bartending, setup, and Stripe. Please use the QR code to sign up and make suggestions. There is a suggestion box, yes. Sometimes we've had people bring their own booth. We have a tea house back then when we did it in 2019, and that was a huge success for people to chill. So if you have an idea or you have infrastructure for a chill space, there is room for that. So please keep that in mind.
Yep, but please tell us that you're coming, and so we can figure out where we're going to set all that stuff up.
So there will be a Leads meeting this Thursday, November 20th at 6 p.m. over Zoom and in person at our place. And we're also having a build day on December 6th, which is the Saturday before the event. And the event will take place on December 13th. Accompanying kids under 18 will be welcome until 9 p.m. to enjoy all the fun and decorations.
Okay. And there's going to be these meetings.
Yeah.
That's it. Great. So please sign up. Please contact us. You can contact me at rangerhousecall@gmail.com or go to the Arizona Burners webpage and contact us through there. We hope to see you all at holidays on December 13th.
Yes.
You can also send an email to holidays@azburners.com and it will get to them as well.
Or
.org. Sorry about that. A few more just events that are upcoming, just to list for you. Right, there's always burner adjacent events going on, and one of the things I want to make sure that we're doing as well is letting the community know about the events that they all like and care about. It doesn't have to be official for us to talk about it. So if you ever have something that you want me to post in the Burn After Reading, just pop an email. Yes?
Can I add one that's time sensitive?
Yes.
Today, Saturday after Thanksgiving, is Bring Your Own Big Wheels. Where you bring a plastic children's toy up to the top of the hill.
I'm not going to be able to repeat all that.
I wanted to add an event that comes up even sooner than these events by the same group that does Iditarod and Sanarchy, and that is the Bring Your Own Big Wheel Race, where a bunch of adults defy death by riding big wheels down a very large hill. It's been taking place in the same location in Sunny Slope for a couple of years, and if you haven't been, I recommend going before we all break ourselves so badly that it never happens again. So seize the opportunity. AZCompany.org.
And if you don't have insurance, please go to Access, Arizona Access, and sign up for insurance.
All right, you guys are such incredible troopers. The next person I'm going to invite up is Corinne, who's the president of our Arizona chapter of Burners Without Borders, to give us an update on what they've been.
Hi, everybody. My name's Corinne. I started from Burning Man in 2007. I do things. I'm not in charge of anything. Sometimes I know things. I'm totally out. Burners Without Borders, the Arizona chapter, started because I asked a good question and got a better answer and started doing the thing. And I welcome you to come join us. Like, we're a pretty chill group. We do not want a hierarchy of leadership. So be ready for like that. There's never going to be a like direct answer. This is what you're going to do. We want you to come up with the idea. So we're accepting nominations for our 2026 board. I'm currently serving as president. Desiree has been sporadically helping me with administrative things as secretary. Jesse has wonderfully served as my VP for this season. And Jill has recently resigned as our treasurer. I want to focus on thanking Jill for all of her effort, energy, expertise, knowledge, and dedication to our work and to our community. We could not have done so many things without her. So if you see her, hug her, give her love. She's an amazing human. So if you have administrative, bookkeeping, money counting abilities, we would love for you to nominate yourself or a friend for the treasurer. We are accepting nominations for all roles, but really just that one is like critical fill need. I want to move on to the projects that we've done this year. We've continued working with Civitan Foundation to provide a flow arts group for differently abled adults of all types and abilities. It's really a joy to provide these props to these adults and get to learn that they choreograph, they come up with ideas, they come up with storylines, they come up with costumes, they want to put on full shows in public. They want to come to our events. It's so hard work. So I look forward to starting up another program with them in the spring. We're renewing like when we're going to do it. Right now it was just challenges with funding and scheduling. Next. Iditarod, we've continued to partner with Iditarod. It's an Arizona Cacophony Society event. They raise shopping carts in downtown Phoenix. It's very anarchic. And we're so super glad to be the ones that like collect the items for whichever charity we choose that year and then deliver them whenever the charity wants us to deliver them. Last year was UMOM. They support women and children and families that are experiencing homelessness, and we made sure we got them lots of them. In Arizona, period supplies are not a necessity, and so they're not supplied to families. It's something that they have to go out and purchase. And so one of our focuses has been finding more earth-friendly solutions for that will make them able to like not depend on getting cotton tampons. And it's a long story. It's a passion project, but I'm happy to talk about it offline. Our blood drives, we need a stable location moving forward. So we're on pause right now, but I'm really proud to like say that in 2024 we collected 51 units. That's 51 lives that Arizona burners saved by donating blood. In 2025 we collected 35 units. Once we have a stable location again, we're going to start doing these at least quarterly. You do not need to donate blood. If you want to donate, or if you want to donate your time by volunteering, helping check in, that would be awesome. You can volunteer by marketing. You can share it on your page. There's so many ways to help. I'll get to the grant application process later, but I want to talk about one monetary grant that we awarded this year because it's the only one that anybody requested. We have money and we want you to. So I'm really glad that somebody asked for a grant. We awarded without hesitation to Miami Artworks after seeing, many of us saw the photos that were hitting Facebook of what happened to Miami after the floods hit. So what we donated isn't enough. I hope that they've been able to completely recover. These are the pictures that I got for an update for you all. Please touch base with Joanna if you're friends with them or anybody at Miami Artworks and make sure that they're okay. And you swing by and help them out more. Burners Without Borders is about our time and energy and expanding the 10 principles of the event all year round. So if you have a weekend to go see what Joanna needs and can help rebuild that space with her and bring art back to Miami, I think she will greatly appreciate it. Last year, Jill came up with the idea of adopting a street, and so we adopted a stretch of the Grand Canal Path. It's a beautiful bike path that frequently serves as a sleeping space, and so it frequently needs to be cleaned up. The city has a really great program, but also relies heavily on volunteers, and so we only need to go out there quarterly. I feel compelled to do it more often. I could certainly use it more often. And we want to do it in fun costumes and at a time that works for everybody's schedules. So please come out and join us. It's more of a fun party than just, it's supposed to be more of a fun party than just cleaning up trash. Also, special thanks to Jeff. He single-handedly did our fourth event of the year, so thank you. I'm also super happy to announce that we have a new Burners Without Borders liaison in training, board member in training. We're feeling things out. Their name's Avid. They're down in Tucson. We're stoked to have representation outside of the Phoenix metropolitan area. Anybody online, if you would like to join us, we'd love to have Flagstaff, Wilcox, Tucson, anywhere outside of Phoenix. Represent yourselves. So Tucson now has a monthly cleanup. Please get in touch with Avid. You can scan this to get the details. They're going to be dressing up as Santa Claus next and Santa adjacent characters. We have partnered with Save the Family for many, many years. If you're not familiar with Save the Family, they adopt families for Thanksgiving and Christmas that are underserved. We're going to go shopping, we're for food. I have been vegan for 15 years. This year I am in charge of shopping, so there was a lot of ethical dilemma there, and so I asked if there was a vegan family. There is one. So I get to go shopping for a vegan family for Christmas and Thanksgiving. The form here, if you want, these are going to be shared, right? The form here, I blocked out the names, but if you want to donate a specific present to a specific child, please get it to me before Christmas, and we'll be getting it. And I'm going to make it easier to shop, wish list soon. I'm just super anti-Amazon, so I couldn't figure out how to get a wish list to you without Amazon. So you can also adopt your own Save the Family. So, financials. This usually has more information. I'm sorry, I did not have preparation time for this portion like I wanted to. We've participated in Mighty Cause in the past. We didn't participate this year because there's a lot of money in our account and nobody's asking for it already, and so we didn't see a need to keep stockpiling if we're already not awarding the grants, and Mighty causes a lot of work with a lot of stipulations. So our fundraising, our income this year is thank you for the donation from Arizona Burners and the private donors. There are private trusts, my own included. We thank every one of you that is including us in end-of-life plans. We want this to be an effort that goes beyond any of us. Pro tip, we're not getting any money from Amazon Smiles. Please stop buying off of Amazon thinking that we're getting any Amazon Smiles donations. You should be boycotting Jeffrey Bezos. And then pro tip, please take our money. We have a grant form. It's going to be on the slide. I think the scan actually goes to our grant form. We award micro grants. They're $500 at a time. I think our limitation is one per year. But our main goal is not only just hey, here's the money to go do your thing, but we want to connect as many volunteers to your idea, as well as say, if you need more money, this is how to get the money to this program. and make sure that we get the whole idea. Because $500 is oftentimes not enough to be a complete solution. All right, looking ahead, we want to keep strengthening partnerships with the organizations that we've chosen to partner with. They do good work, and there's no point in us reinventing any of the wheels that are out there. If you have organizations that you would like to see us do more work with, I'd love to hear it. Let's do it. We want to continue to engage and support Arizona families and individuals by providing peer solutions. So oftentimes you'll see us kind of shying away from any government or organizations. We want more grassroots organization support. Next up, we're going to be collecting from the masses as we'll be pairing up with ElfCon. We're doing both a toy drive and a food drive. Y'all might have noticed that groceries are kind of expensive right now, and I feel like toys might come in second to like making sure that kids get fed this year. So we're going to do both.
Can we do toy box drop off at holidays too?
I put that in your suggestion box. So I would like to have a toy box at ElfCon holidays. Anywhere that you want me to put a box out there, I have a spare bedroom that I keep away from my cats, and they will not open any presents until Christmas, and I promise to deliver them all to the place at once. I want to talk about for half a second, we're migrating away from Meta as Burners Without Borders just because we hear so many of you saying fuck Facebook. Sorry. 26 is our next donation drive after ElfCon. Let me know if you have any ideas how you want us to see things be done better, more efficiently. Like Renee, I would love for somebody else to be like our front-facing public speaker, comms, communication, all of the things. Moving forward, as far as communications on Facebook, you're going to see everything coming from just generic Arizona Burners Without Borders. You're not going to see any usernames tagged anymore. We're also going to be trying to gently push y'all towards Discord because we just feel like it's an easier place to have the communications and conversations that we want, and there's no algorithms in influencing it. It's just who posted last. That's all I got to ramble about. Thank you guys for listening.
And then we'll pause, and anyone who wants to stick around to talk about the land, stick around, but it's 4 o'clock, so we've gone 2 hours, and I know that it can be a long, long day. Burning Man 2026, we're getting closer, believe it or not. Once we lift Burning Man 25, we get closer to Burning Man 2026. Access Monday is the thing. There you have it. Do we have Laura Hopwood on the Zoom? Laura Hopwood.
Laura Hopwood on Zoom.
While he's looking, I'll just share a little bit. Arizona is one of 110 official regions, thereabouts. 36 states, 34 countries, more than 100 regional events going on. More people go to regional events now than go to Black Rock City. So I think it's kind of cool. We're part of a big thing around the world. She's not there? Okay. The main thing I wanted to talk about here, Burning Man, because you can go to the website, you can see all kinds of stuff, subscribe to the things, learn all the things, ask me any questions you want. We're about to, in fact, we have just this week, are kicking off search for regional contacts. I've been right now, so Cutie Pie finished up the end of 2024. It's been our melody for this past year. This region needs more than 2, let alone, right, just 2. Our recommendation to Burning Man Project was a couple that live in Tucson, southern Arizona, a couple that live in Phoenix area, and 1 or so that live north of here. So we've kicked off the search for the next RCs. I'm retiring as a regional contract end of 2026. So I've given my notice and I'm participating in and my succession is part of this. What's a regional contact? I don't want to get into all that right now, but basically we're the conduit between a region and Burning Man project. Our role here is to help build and nurture the community, to help connect people, to help connect y'all with each other and do all the burner things that you want to do. That's really the essence of it, but there's more that you can read about, and more. I love talking about it, but I don't want to spend too much time right now on that. The search, and I actually brought the project plan with me, consists of, we're piloting a new approach to search and place regional contacts with Burning Man Project. Before, it was led by Burning Man Project. You went through, you self-nominated, which is still the case. And this week, an email is coming out and a notice is coming out announcing it with a form that you'll be able to fill out if you're interested. That was followed by interviews with Burning Man Project. Instead, the interviews are going to be with a team that we've put together from the region. So it's going to be much more region-driven than Burning Man Project-driven, even though the contract is signed between the regional contact and Burning Man Project. We have a 3-person interview team, and I think you all will be happy with who this interview team is. Scotto, who's a former RC here, but he also he's been hanging out with Burning Man Project for a long time, and he sits on what they call the Meta Committee, and he gets involved in all the conflicts around the world between RCs. And so I think that his wisdom that he's gained over the years as an Arizona burner and helping regional contacts around the world is going to be great for this purpose. Number 2 is Burnopedia. You know her as Julie. She's been intimately involved in all of our volunteer efforts for the last several years. She knows many of you. She's just an incredible, upstanding volunteer and member of our community. And so she's agreed to be on that interview team. And the 3rd is Danger Kitten from Tucson, who sits on the board of BED, who also is super involved in our regional events. We wanted to make sure that we had good diversity, both from a statewide perspective, as well as good depth, and respect from the community. Because they're going to be the main one. They're going to be interviewing whoever puts in their self-nomination. So self-nomination followed by, once all the nominations are in, there will be opportunity for community input. So Burning Man Project will send out an email to everybody. We'll also post the information in our socials and whatever that will announce who are the candidates. And so you'll be able to provide your input. If you know any of them, let the org know what you think. So that the community will input, these folks will do the interviewing, then they will have an opportunity to reach their conclusions on who to recommend to Burning Man Project. That recommendation will be made, and they'll review it. They may have questions, they may want to take it a little bit further, but we're expecting that those recommendations will be the ones that will sit. We anticipate the process will take 3 to 4 months. And that the next RCs will be in place spring of next year, so that we've got a good transition time between then and the end of the year. So it's not just like, not what. So that's just a quick overview of it. If any of you think that you might be interested in it, I'm happy to share what my experience. Armella and I don't have any input into who it will be. Burning Man Project has actually found, let it come from the community, let it come from them. The current folks, right, all of our bad habits just get transferred when we recommend. So, but I'm happy to share my experience with you. Cromie may be happy to share his experience with you. I know that when I first self-nominated, I made sure to call Cromie, Scotto, Gary, anybody who I could find who had been in RC to see what I might be getting into. So, so that's what I wanted to share with you about that. We've kind of reached the end of the everything but talking about the land. And it is 5 after 4, so I want to give us a chance to take 5 minutes, and anybody who doesn't want to stick around from this, no judgment. Anybody who does want to have the conversation, want to have the conversation. But let's just get up for 5 minutes and shuffle around. It'll take, in my estimation, about 30 minutes for us to talk through land stuff. And those of you who are going, thank you. So just quickly, and I know Zoom people, I'm not sharing the screen with you, and that's okay. As you know, in 2020, Arizona Region purchased some land down in Wilcox that we've aptly named Landing McLaren Face. We've had a number of Soromans there. We've had a couple of decals there. You also know that we've had difficulties with the neighbors there. Fast forward several years later, right, we had an opportunity to learn a lot. One of the things that may not have been so evident when we purchased the property was that we were actually in residential area, right? It was zoned residential homestead area. There were neighbors. Neighbors didn't like us bringing a great big party there once a year. And it has continued to be ever more difficult to get permits. Not only that, we tried to get a permit. Owning land and only using it once or twice a year may or may not make a lot of sense to everybody, but we wanted to be able to use it more frequently. And so we applied for a way to be able to use it more frequently and do things like weekends to take care of the land, weekends to have leadership retreats, weekends to be able to have theme camps, be able to do their thing. That didn't pass, and I'm not going to go belabor all of that whole sad story. But so we're not able to use the land more frequently. If we want to ever do Saguaro there, we have to do it quietly, no birds, little sound, no nudity. Right? So, you know, some of the things that we love to do, not able to do it. So it became very evident. And someone else brought up in the whole process, you know, the whole, became very evident it's not the place for us to hold Saguaro. Can we still do camping events there? Yeah, we can do some small camping events there if we decide we want to. But the main purpose of the land, we're not going to be able to use it for. There's a board, Arizona Artistic, that has the title to the land, right? The 501c3 that has the land is there for the stewardship of the land. And then there's this right, ABC, if you want to call it that, but we've got the community. And so Arizona Artistic has said, whatever the community wants to do with the land, we're behind. So we determined that we need to start the conversation with the community. We don't have to make a snap decision. What we need to do is have a good understanding from the community. What should we do with this? And it's not going to be a one and done. So this town hall is to begin that conversation. Conversation will continue at a minimum through the next town hall that will happen in Tucson in March. We hope to have a number of maybe Zoom or small gatherings or whatever so that we can keep the conversation going so that we can figure out as a community what's the best use of that land if we're going to keep it, what's the best use of the money that we would get from the sale of that land should we sell it. So so today you can think of as beginning a group brainstorming session. Okay? I'll tell you some ideas that have bubbled up just to because there tends to be a belief that, okay, we got the land, so now we should sell it and get different land. Question is, should we? So when you think about it, we're going to ask you to get in like small groups. We want a real conversation going, not at least in front of the room, telling things, but think about it amongst yourselves. Brainstorm some ideas. We've got some poster board around. And yeah, let's maybe get one on this table, one on this table, one on this table, and folks can gather around and talk with each other, right? Have conversations at each of the tables and on the Zoom. And I'll be with you guys on the Zoom in a second. And use the sticky notes that are the post-it notes that are on the table to put your ideas on the board. Anything goes, right? There's no in this room. There's only ideas. And then we'll take photos of the boards, we'll start to share them around the community, we'll have the same kind of thing when we do this again in Tucson, and then each table is just gonna start talking. What ideas do you have? What should we do with the land? No, the question is, what should we do with the land? One idea might be sell it and do something else with it. If we keep the land, we need to figure out what to do with the land that we own. If we don't keep the land, should we sell it and do something else? Should we sell it for a different land? Some ideas that I'll give you some ideas that have come up after I see all these things, because I'm not planning anything. Okay? Is the assignment clear? I'm going to check in with you in 10 minutes.
Hello.
So let me make it clear. The question is, right, the base question is, what's the area? It could be, if we sell it, what do we do with the money? Doesn't necessarily have to be buy more land. It could be, but it doesn't have to. I'm seeing all the ideas.
There's also, like, facilities like generation of electricity from solar there. Doesn't have to be new, so it's a very straightforward process to do. A lot of guys like Tyler, this batteries, it's going to be very easy to pick the water. Is there something that's happening? Something being donated to them? Is the state key to do stewardship of it's a buy or sell? Is the other one Nice gesture.
I have a question for the new lease. We pretty much what is in, where you could, there really isn't a whole lot. It doesn't have some issue with the vegetation, it's very good.
So how many old types?
No, they're still there.
So basically, what this is
Just read off what are the ideas.
Okay, all right. We've got first idea: keep the land, use it on a per basis need and as a space or a backup option for solar land if the special permit is available. So there's a compound that there could be an annual expense to pay for the land, to keep the land, and its liability. The next thing we have is grant money for experimental land remediation. The next one we have is sell it. Reinvest in another area to use, not buy, but go back to the crowd model of finding locations to host SAGMANA through the community. Next thing is labyrinth. And if it were me, and this is what's written, if it were me, I'd look for a more permanent home, so Landy would likely be a distraction. Sell or rent.
Thank you.
Every which way. All right. So the land, with the knowledge gained, look for new land that will better meet the needs of the burner community. The land has negative ancient energy, sell it, move on, grow. Sell the land, move on, new land, not so sure. Keep, safe space to yeet burners in dangerous situations for temporary living while more sustainable resources can be found. Keep monthly campouts with BWB, but modeled after Fly Ranch incubation events. Keep tiny homes rented to burners, establish in the community, establish a food farm, build permanent common structures, provide a finite number of spots for RV rental spaces, provide finite number of spots for tent living. Sell 365 days, 24/7 space for burners together and build art, admin office, creator space, storage for paint camps, rent space by square feet, animal rescue farm, permanent art and composting toilets, marijuana cultivation. Keep land where spaces create a space to benefit Wilcox and us. Sell land to buy city of Wilcox.
Thank you. I'm going to take all these, take photos of them, we'll put them somewhere on the website just to keep the conversation going. Who wants the microphone?
All right, so we've also split it up into keep or sell choices. So on the keep side, we have turned it into a space for nomadic camping for burners that are going to keep passing through. Make it a training space for those being introduced to nomadic life. We have donate or lease for conservation efforts. Use it for storage. We have a question about what can be built there. We also have start a pig farm. Island electrical power grid. So that's on the Keep side, and then on the south side, we have
Door neighbor.
and then also in the middle, wondering what the possibilities are about selling some of the land, keeping some of it, and buying new land.
Thanks. Let me read you what our Zoomies wrote. Tiny home Airbnb, solar plant to provide power to Wilcox revenue as 501c3 to our org, and then sell part of the land to fund one of those. So their ideas were building on each other. It was great. Rent or sublease in off periods. How much would it cost to rezone? And there was another question about, what are the zoning restrictions? Sell and buy a different parcel with better zoning. We'd love a place that we could visit more often. Education retreat. Sell it to a burner. Is there a limit to homes that can be on land? So a lot of common themes coming around, which is awesome. Anybody have any more comments about this? And this is really the main thing we wanted to do, is just start the idea generating, and I think we'll put a page on the website where this will reside in a place for more ideas to come, because this is the kind of conversation we need to have. I think that the more we can brainstorm, the more we can think outside of our own box, and we'll end up with amazing solutions in the worker community. Yes?
Can we find out what restrictions are with the land?
Yes. Yeah, we'll find that out, and this page that I'm envisioning will have that information on it. Because the question came up in pretty much every group. So. Okay. Awesome. I want to do one last thing before I could say we're done, and please help me clean up. We got a bunch of gratitude stickers, and I'm so excited. So I want to read them so we can leave today with this sense of gratitude as expressed by our fellow learners. Thank you. I'm grateful for this community's generous, artistic, and loving spirit. I'm grateful for two amazing women who are both friends and leaders in action, Misha and Chainsaw. Grateful for people that are passionate about participation, the community of good people. I'm grateful for finding a new burner family in the desert. I'm grateful to Comus Closet for letting me join the crew and play with everyone at Regional Burn. Grateful for Ruthie. Grateful for our I second that. Actually, I second every one of these. Grateful for our community, those that continue to show up and keep this going. Grateful. I'm grateful for our seemingly tireless leadership, for the competence and commitment to all our members. I'm thankful for such a supportive, creative group of weirdos, safe spaces. I'm grateful for the Burn community for supporting my first art project and making it possible for others to experience. Yay! Awesome. I'm grateful for all of you. This has been like a marathon. Well, now that we're moving these to the spring and the fall, they'll be able to be shorter yet, because we won't need to cover a whole year in a couple of hours. And I like having the ability to be able to do exactly this kind of thing with you much more than I like just fire hose of information. So thank you so much, everyone. You're amazing. If we all pitch in, we can get this place cleaned up in 15 minutes. So thank you.